Hello guys, coming to you again today for another something different time. Today is the 22nd of September, and guys, it is hard to believe there'll be one more Wednesday left in the month of September 2021, and then it'll go in the history books, and time's just marching on. And so, I think we talked a little bit about that last week. So, anyway, I hope you're ready for our new year. But as I begin to get started today, I do want to talk about my garden just a little bit. We did the video last week showing where we sowed, did a lot of our fall crops and stuff, getting those planted. And I've actually did a little more since then, and I hope that all this racket go by. But I hope that I can do a video showing you an up-to-date what it looks like. Guys, I sowed the turnips, the mustard, stuff like that. I sowed that on Monday of last week. And by last Thursday, it was coming up out of the ground. I could not believe it was that fast. And so, I'm real excited with the way it's looking. It's looking so good, and we're actually getting a little bit of much needed rain. We are actually in a dry spell here. Not hurting, but it is a little dry. We could use the rain that we're getting. So I hope that, my understanding, we could get anywhere from 1 to 2 inches when it's all said and done. And then we've got a little cool front coming in. Excuse me, and that will help on that as well. It won't help the okra, but it will help the cabbage and the broccoli and the cauliflower, the collards and the greens that I've got planted. So anyway, kind of excited about that. And also I took up the green beans that was in the containers back here, and I just went ahead and amended the soil that they were in, and hopefully I've got some onions sown. Hopefully we can transplant those a little later on in the fall to try and get, do my onions again like I did last year. So that's the plan there. So, anyway, that's what we've got going on right now. So my topic today, we want to talk about how did we get where we are now as a nation. How in the world did we end up this way? And guys, just to be honest with you, a lot of people just dropped the ball. They just said they don't care no more. And I have worked in public work, just to use this as an example. Trying to clear my throat. And you would see things happening with inside the facility that you were at, and you knew that if people did not step up, that eventually it was going to go down. And that's what happened every time. And it starts with management. I'll just go ahead and say that, get it in trouble. When management gets to the place that they don't no longer care about the place that they work for and deal with problems when they arise and correct those problems, it's just a matter of time that it'll fold its doors and close. And that's basically what we have seen and witnessed within our own country. Now, I'm not here today to single out no political side or anything like that, because I'm gonna just go ahead and tell you it's both sides. They're both rotten to the core. They're not worried about nothing else but just padding their pockets. That's all they care about now. And just a few years ago, the Republicans had full control of the executive. They had full control of the House. They had full control of the Senate, with a little bit of control within the Supreme Court as well. And they did absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. And, like it or not. Now we look what we've got. We've got a bunch of, I don't know whether I should use the word or not. There's a word that I want to use, but probably can't use it. But I'll just say this, we got a bunch of idiots now that are trying to push all these Green New Deals and all this stupid mess that don't have anything to do with anything. They're worried about, you know, that light bulb that's up there that's supposed to be such a great thing that didn't even last 6 months and it's already burnt out. I mean, we're gonna just have fun today. So I mean, this is what we've got, but how did we get there? And what we've had in the last 25 to 30 years, we've had a dumbing down of the public, you might as well say. And guys, whenever I went to school, we were taught how to write. And when I say write, I'm talking about writing in cursive. Now that's not important. Why, I don't know. But we were also taught our multiplication table. I remember I had a little card. It was about this big. And it had every times table on it, from the 1s all the way up to the 12s. And I remember when I believe I was in the 3rd grade, we had to memorize those every week. We took it one by one and we went down. And we had to memorize those. We couldn't sit and count everything out. We actually had to say 1 times 1 is 1. 12 times 12 is 144. I mean, we had to memorize each one of those all the way down. And I don't know what they make kids do nowadays besides sit in front of a computer or something. I really don't know. But we had to actually think. We had to use what little God-given sawdust that I've got up here. We actually had to use it. And when I remember whether we were doing long division or short division, however, the teacher wanted us to take that, make the little division mark, and we put that on our paper, and she wanted to see how we came up with the answer that we had. And we couldn't just come up with an answer and write it down on the paper. She wanted us to work it out. That was in the lower grades. Now, as you went on up, they weren't really that particular about that. I hazard to say a lot of the kids today don't even know what that is. And it's just like, and I'll give you a good example. When you learn, I'll never forget, I had an uncle one time when I was learning my multiplication. He said, "Do you know what that really is in real life?" I said, "No, what?" He said, "It's quicker addition." He said, "Just quicker adding things together, a quicker way of doing it." And as you get out here in the real world and you're counting, you're looking over what you have, and say you've got 5 here, I've got 5 over there, and I've got 4 right here, and another 5 over there. Okay, 3 5s is 15, and 4, that's going to be 19. 4 5s is 20. I mean, you get all this stuff in your head. That sounds elementary, I know, but you'd be surprised, guys, how many people today it would blow their minds. I'm just saying. I'm getting somewhere, I hope. But this is what we've got today in our land. And if you're watching me and you're a teacher or you're whatever in the I'm not belittling that, because we've still got great teachers out there. I don't want to. Their hands are tied. They've got to do what Big Brother pretty much says, and it's not really their fault. I'm not blaming them. I am blaming our leaders that are supposed to be looking out for our well-being. They're not. It's all about an agenda. And guys, I'm going to try to call names, but I'm going to try to do it in a way, hopefully, it won't get me flagged. But I remember back in the 92 election, there was a man, there was actually 3 people that was running that year. And I'll call him by his name, the one that I really liked, was Ross Perot. He is the only one that had any sense about him at all. The rest of them, they sold us out. You say what you want to. I don't care which side you want to talk about. They sold us out with the NAFTA. And both sides were for it. Mr. NWO hiding under a bush. Maybe you'll catch that. He was all for it. Matter of fact, he is probably one of the most instrumental people bringing some of this stuff about that we're seeing today. He goes back, and I'm going to quote a number, and you take these numbers and correspond them with the letters of the alphabet, because I definitely cannot say this. But the 391, he was a big 391 person. And I don't know, I have read stories, I have actually even seen photographs, whether they've been photoshopped or not, I can't say. But when Mr. Kennedy was down in Texas and lost his life, I've been told that Mr. hiding under a bush was down there. Now, whether he was or not, I honestly cannot say. I've seen pictures, but it just shows a picture of him from the back, not the front, so you can't really verify that 100%. But it is his home state, so that goes without reason. I'd say there's a pretty good chance he could have been. That goes into a lot of I know that goes into a whole lot of conspiracy theories and things like that. I don't really want to get into that. But if a leader goes against the grain of the SWAMP, let's just call it that. If they go against the grain against that, they're not going to stay there. I don't care what side of the aisle they're on. They're not going to stay there. Big Brother's going to see to it that they come out, just like we saw this past year. Now, if the man that was there last year, Mr. T, if he would learn how to throttle his mouth, he would have probably been a lot better off. But he has a little, I guess a little bit like me, can't keep his mouth shut when he ought to. But anyway, I didn't really get on here to talk about that today either. But get back to what I wanted to say about Mr. hiding under a bush. He's a big 391 man. So you look up those corresponding letters. Now we know the 3rd letter in the alphabet is C, the 9th letter in the alphabet, and then the 1st letter in the alphabet is A. So that phrase will end in A. So just saying it like that. So anyway, he had a lot of inside connections, no doubt. So we're going to talk about him, but let's go back to the 1970s. I think when a lot of the wheels began to be put into motion. Actually, you could probably go back into the 40s, maybe even beyond that, but the 40s definitely, 30s too, for that matter. But I've never been able to 100% trust Big Brother. because, well, for one, I was just thinking about it earlier today. Both of my grandparents was living during the Great Depression. They were living during World War II. I had one grandfather that actually fought in World War II. He was sent to the Solomon Islands and the Philippines. And he said the things that they were required to do, he said it would literally burn you up and make you so mad. And guys, we were going through such a hard time financially. I mean, it was a rough time. I mean, you had the Great Depression and people hungry, standing in lines, soup lines, things like that. But he said this is what burnt him up. He said that not the outfit that he was with, but another outfit that he was with, they had to take, I forget how many bushels and bushels and bushels of wheat. And they had to pile it up and burn it. Why? To keep the price up on it. I'm going to go back to the good book for just a minute. The love of money. A lot of people misquote this verse. The love of money is the root to all evil. A lot of people say it's money is the root of all. No, that's not what it said. The love of it. I know a lot of people that love it. I mean, they really have a major love affair with it. I've got to hurry on. But, and then he said that there was another gentleman that I grew up with down in the country. He said that he was in the Navy, and he said they took swine and loaded them up on a ship, took them way off out in the ocean, and dumped them, drowned them. Why? Keep the price up on them. The market was just about to be flooded, and you know what happens with the law of supply and demand. The price goes down. So instead of suffering that and feeding people that needed to be fed, we're going to do this. Guys, there's a payday coming for all this stuff. And that's just that's just two of the things that I know. I've never had a real trust for them. Now maybe you do, fine, hallelujah, you go at it, but I just don't. There's a lot of shady things that's went on over the years, but I want to tell you how this works. And this last big thing that was voted on, there was a lot of stuff tacked on to it. But that's how a lot of this stuff works and getting these laws, bills, whatever you want to call it, enacted. And I don't care what administration, what side of the aisle it's on both sides. And when you've got a major bill that's needing to be passed and you're having to reach over party lines to get it done, this is how this works. Okay, you get the other side and they'll say, okay, I'll vote for it if I can tack this on and we get this passed to go along with it. And see, that's slid in and nobody sees it, but it's voted on, and once the big boss signs his name on it, it's law. And it's very, very unlikely that it's going to get taken off. That's how we end up with all these crazy, stupid laws that's coming out now. And you've got idiots like Omar, I'll just call her that. I don't remember what, let's see. What is her name? Oh, the little 30-some-year-old that thinks she's got all the answers. But anyway, won't come to me now. But you get idiots like that with these stupid ideas that's coming out. Just don't get me started. But I mean, that's how this stuff happens. And it's overlooked. Nobody catches it. Nobody tries to do anything to stop it. And that's what's going on. But it's all part of an agenda. Now, I want to go back to the NAFTA for just a moment, because I definitely remember that. And there's really something that stood out in my mind when that was trying to be put into law. Now, I don't remember if hiding under a bush ever tried to do it, but I do know Slick Willie is the one that gets credited for doing that. But really, it was something that both sides of the aisle was in favor of. So anyway, we get that enacted, and just like Mr. Perot said, somebody turned the vacuum cleaner on, and we heard that sucking sound of all of our jobs leaving and going south. I mean, guys, within almost a year's time, they started leaving. Especially the textile sector really took a hit, because that's what I worked in. I still work in. And it's struggling, but it's still here. But that's where they went. But I'll never forget, he used a method of persuasion to try to get people on board with this. He got all the former presidents, with the exception of one, at that time, Mr. Nixon, Mr. Ford, Mr. Carter, and hiding under a bush. He got all those together, and they publicly endorsed the NAFTA. There was one that would not do it. Now, I don't know if it's because of his Alzheimer's, don't know, but he, to my knowledge, he never endorsed it. I've heard some say that he would have. I don't believe that. But anyway, I just know he wasn't present when that took place. But, and that would have been Mr. Reagan, who in my lifetime, I don't care if you like this or not, he's probably the smartest president we've ever had in my lifetime. Now, I don't care whether you like it or not, I'm just going to tell you the truth. But anyway, so now we've got what we've got today. And then you move up, you have Slick's time, and then after him we got another hiding under the bush. Hiding under the bush number 2. And all of a sudden, we're plunged into the longest conflict we've ever had in our history. A lot of stuff happened, guys, during that time that was under the table, that was hid, and I don't want to get into talking about that. Just for the simple fact, let me just say this. The incident that took place on September the 11th, I honestly believe was an inside job. You might disagree with that. I don't know. I honestly believe it was. Now, I don't think it come just from one person. I think there, well, matter of fact, I know there were more people involved than just one individual. But it's all part of an agenda. It's all part of a plan to put things into motion. It's just like those stupid light bulbs up there. That's part of a plan. It's just like this sorry gasoline that you get now to go in your automobile, and it ain't doing nothing but just burning it up. That's all part of a plan. And guys, you could just about take a gallon of water and do just as good with it as you could this gas that we've got now. I'm just simply saying. What it is, guys, our gas has been watered down, tempered down, however you want to say it, to stretch it out, to bring the price of it down so that people can afford it. If you could purchase gas to the quality that it was 30, 40 years ago, you'd pay $7 or $8 a gallon for it. You think I'm joshing you? I am not. So now we don't have an American economy anymore. It's a worldwide economy. New world. The NWO. That's what it's all gearing toward, guys. And like it or not, most of our politicians have just sold us out. They don't care. They do not love this country. They don't love a thing about it. I don't care how many times Slick's old lady can get up and say she cares about your children. She does not. If she cares so much for them, why wasn't she down there getting them out of the cages? Just saying. Because that was going on before Mr. T took office too, by the way. I'm probably going to get myself in a whole world of trouble today. It just needs to be said. But anyway, guys, this is what's happened to our land today. It's no longer governed by godly men. And to be honest with you, it's people like you that are constantly praying for our land, praying for God's mercy on our land, praying for God's protection. Guys, if it wasn't for that, I believe we would have been destroyed a long time ago. And God could justly and righteously do it and not owe an apology to no one. And I just see how far away from God we have gotten. We're no longer under His protective hand like we once were. And keep praying, guys. If you're praying every day, if you've got a habit, I'm going to tell you, keep doing it. Because I'm going to tell you, you don't realize how important that is to your children, your grandchildren, your brothers, your sisters, your co-workers, your neighbors. Because if it weren't for that, I believe God would have destroyed us a long, long time ago. Guys, we're living in a day of evil. We're living in a day of wickedness in high places. I think about the ice cream lady out in California. Maybe most of y'all know who I'm talking about. I'll do my best to not call specific names. Sometimes I'll let one slip, and I've got to actually, I hope I can catch it. I got to go back and edit this video because there is something that I said that I didn't want to say. So I got to pull that out because it can get me in trouble. But anyway, the ice cream lady, another joke. And somebody needs to get her a good dose of Polygrip so that her teeth won't fall out all the time. She has a lot of trouble, I've noticed, keeping her teeth in her mouth. And she ought to get them kindness anchored down. Something, I don't know. I mean, just an absolute idiot. I just call it what it is. And so that's what we've got today. The good book says over in the book of Psalms that when the righteous are in authority, people rejoice. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. I think that's over in the book of Psalms or the book of Proverbs 1. If I think about it, I'll look that verse up and I'll try to put it down here below in the caption. Well, guys, I know it's been a little scattered, a little different today, but that's just what I've had on my mind all week. And been irritated. And, you know, here the other week we had the mandates that came out. And I just like to tell him just to go somewhere. That's all I want to say about that. Another idiot. He is a post turtle. You know what a post turtle is? A poor old post turtle. Well, what is that? Well, it's a turtle that's setting up on top of a fence post. That turtle did not put himself there. There's no way physically that he is able to put himself on top of that fence post. But someone put him there. And I read this on Facebook the other day. So he's up there, he's out of his league. He don't even know how he got there, most likely. He just knows that's where he's at. And he don't know how to get down. He cannot get down unless someone removes him and puts him back down on the ground where he belongs. But he is out of his league up there. He is of no good. He cannot accomplish one thing up there. He's a post turtle. So just thought I'd close out, share that with you today. Thought you might find that just a little bit on the humorous side. So anyway, guys, keep praying and keep us in your prayers here. And Lord willing, we'll be back next week with some other things and have some other things going on. So guys, appreciate you watching. I appreciate your comments, all your encouragement and everything. I appreciate it so much. Guys, y'all have a great day. And thank you so much from Little NC Farmer.